Good morning, snow bunnies. Happy Monday. I hope you're having a beautiful day watching the snow fall when you look out your window. We're going to jump right in, and I'd like to show you what I would like for you to work on today. Okay. For starters, you will be continuing the essay work that we were doing last week, but it had occurred to me that you haven't really concluded your essay. So I know that by now you probably have 3 or 4 mini essays that you've been working on. And you, by now, hopefully, last Friday's assignment you took to heart and you really developed one of those. Check to be sure that in your essay on Friday that you wrote in your notebook or on a separate sheet of paper that you have named the story, that you've told a little bit about it, that you stated your big bold opinion, that you've given evidence to prove that big old idea, that you have quoted possibly some of the story by putting an actual quote in. You've used some transitional phrases like, for example, and in the beginning, and you have explained why all that matters. But now you want to conclude by restating your thesis and telling us all, something to wrap it all up in a nice little package. So let me recap. You have an introduction that says, the story Chrysanthemum by Kevin Hanks, that's naming the author in the title, is a story about a girl who is given a very long name and by her very loving parents, and she loves her name until one day she goes to school and her classmates make fun of her. That's the short summary. And then it says in your thing, in the story, readers can see that the classmate, Victoria, is rude. That's your big idea. Now, maybe you did this about one of the other stories or you chose a different big idea, but this is what it might sound like. Then you have written maybe a nice paragraph that gives 2 to 3 examples. One way that we see Victoria is rude is this is important because. Another time in the story where Victoria is rude is when readers learn that this is important, blah, blah, blah. And finally, Victoria shows her rudeness when she, blah, 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 and this shows that. So you've got all of that in place. Now you have to wrap it all up, nice little bow, in this final paragraph called your conclusion. All right. So your conclusion is a separate paragraph, which means that your essay might have about 3 paragraphs: your introduction, your main body, your conclusion. It should start with a transition statement. Your transition statement might be, so you can see, or as you can see from this essay, or to conclude, or some other group of words that will help us know, whoop, we're coming to a close. Then you will restate your big idea. It might be, so you see, in those shoes, Jeremy learns a lesson. Or, as you can see from this essay, the story Chrysanthemum teaches us that. Or, to conclude, Chloe changes in the book Each Kindness. Do you see? You have this transition statement and you've restated your big idea. Then your conclusion will add one of these 3 things. You will either add a fun twist or tell us why the story is so important to us and why we should be reading it, or you can state what we can learn from the story as readers. Okay? So if you did a fun twist, it might sound something like this. In those shoes, Jeremy learns a lesson. He learns that life will give him the things that he needs. And in a fun twist at the end, he gets to run off into the snow with his new good friend in brand new boots that he loves. You see how there's a nice little twist at the end? Or you might, in your conclusion, state why the story is so important. So it might sound something like this. In the story, don't forget you've already started with your transition statement. So you see, or as you can learn from this essay, or to conclude, you've done that. Then you're going to say something like, in the story, Chrysanthemum learns that she should be happy with her name, even if she's teased. Maybe that was your big idea. This is important because it teaches us all to appreciate what we have. Do you see? It's like you're explaining not only what your big idea is, but why that story is so important. Or you might decide that you want to state something that we can learn. So in the story, Each Kindness, Chloe changes. She changes from being insensitive to being a more caring and kind person. We can all learn that when life gives us a chance to be kind, we should take it. We never know if that is the only chance we will have. All right. So, what I want you to work on today in your independent writing time is you're writing a conclusion. That conclusion is going to restate your thesis. It's going to give us some kind of a transition, taking us into that restatement. And then you're going to try one of those three things that I gave you. Why the story is important, what we can learn from this, or some fun sort of transitional thing that happens at the end. Fun little twist. All right. Good luck. Happy snow day. And we'll see you all soon.